Hello and welcome to my channel, Lady Green Thumb 2. Today is April the 13th, and as you can see, I'm out on my balcony here, and the way of gardening has changed for me, but this is going to have to be good enough for me to get my fix very close to me and be able to harvest what I can for my kitchen. What I've been doing is hardening off all the seedlings that were started in mid-January of this year. And there was a period where I had started and then got a frost, so I had to start over again. So here you can see that the seedlings are doing quite well. I moved it from my indoor space to my balcony, and I have to be sure to move them out of the sun because when I'm facing, when I'm looking this way, this is north, so I get the brunt of the sun on this side, and there's quite a bit of heat that's generated, or there's quite a bit of sun that is on the patio, so I have to be very careful with all my seedlings. What the balcony looks like is this right now before I even start doing anything. And this pot here is actually for one of my sisters. I'm going to be giving her these prized irises that I purchased online. And then there's a rose plant back there. It's a yellow rose. It dried up, but it might come back. And then I also stuck rose cuttings from my house. It's a two-color rose that was growing there. If I can find a picture, I'll place that over here for you to see exactly what may become of that cutting. I took about 5 of those cuttings. You can't really see them, but they're in the pot here. And I just stuck them, as I said, and I hope that they take. And then this pot here, in my prior video, I stated that I want to keep the number of pots that I have on my patio to 5. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think I'm going to have more than that. Well, this is one of the last pots that I bought from the house, and I need to add more soil. There's quite a few things going on in here. I have the cactus that I had at the front of my house, and then this is a perennial that grows a long stem with a nice purple bulb, or a nice purple flower at the end, on the top of it, excuse me, at the top of it. So I just took very little of it and I'll transplant it elsewhere. I've shared quite a few of these, uh, of this with family and friends. And then I believe this is grape hyacinth. And then this is a ground cover that does really well in moist soil. And then this is a curry leaf plant. I had a really large curry plant. The whole planter went to one of my sisters as well. And I took a little bit of it and I put it in this pot. So the plan is to take all this out, put more soil in here. I'm going to use this potting mix on this side. I purchased this from Costco. So this will be going in there. I believe it's, yes, it's Miracle Grow potting mix. So that will be placed in this pot to bring it up higher, to fill the pot up essentially. These planters here have been here a bit longer, and what I have going on in here is quite a bit. This is a lettuce on this side. I actually put it in 4 spots, and I believe this is a volunteer basil. And then I have this plant, which is it's actually a leaf that we cook up. You can roll it up with like a paste of chickpea flour. That's how I use it, or I fry it up with the chickpea batter. And then this is nasturtium, and this is a plumeria that I got certified from Hawaii. It's a yellow nasturtium. I'm sorry, a yellow plumeria. And then this is a garlic that I pulled out from the house, and you can tell that it didn't really like to be transplanted, but we'll see what happens with that. And then there's a cucumber back here, and it looks like the true leaves are starting to come out. And then this is a viola, I believe. I did put chives in here, but the seeds were very old and they did not come up. Moving on to this pot over here, I got this from a seed swap that the local library had. I went for an event and picked that up, along with a few other things. They're in the apartment or on the outside my door of the apartment. I have a stand of plants, and some of them are there. And then this is a dusty miller, or there's another name for this, silver dust. And then there's 4 spots or so of spinach, and I'll treat that as cut and come again. And there's another cucumber, the same variety as there was in that pot, but you can tell that it has a lot more growth on the true leaves. The true leaf is these leaves here, just to give some education, is the cotyledon, that's in the on the inside of the shell of the seed, and they're not considered the true leaves. And then whatever comes after that is the true leaves. And then I also have, I believe this was again impatient or viola that was started from seed. Another nasturtium here, a different variety. Just making sure I didn't forget anything here. Yeah, that's a cucumber tag over there. And then this was at the front of my house too. It's a trailing vine. I really like the color of this, which is similar to the Dusty Miller. I've tried transplanting this many times over the years while I was at the house, and I was never successful. It spread naturally, which I couldn't figure out how to get it to transplant well and survive. So that makes 3 pots. I'm just keeping count. This pot over here, by the way, will go to my sister as well. And then this pot is empty. I'm just keeping it as a placeholder because with the crazy wind, it's a cage, bird cage decoration, and it has fallen over. So I left the pot in there to hold it down. And then this is the 4th planter, clematis, that I bought all the way from Massachusetts. And this is looking like it's going to actually have some flowers, even though it was transplanted. I think the key was that it was transplanted when there were no leaves. It was still dormant. And then there's a cucumber here that I transplanted from one of the pots that I have just shown you. And you can tell that it did go through some transplant shock because it's not as far along as the other pot in terms of sprouting its true leaf. And then this is calendula, and I have 2 in here, and I was thinking the other day, oh, I'll just take one and transplant it, but I didn't want to prevent it from growing, and it looks like they're happy together, so I'm going to keep them together. And then I have back here, which is kind of hidden, try to turn you around, is this over here is a ground cover that my sister from Austin gave me. It has nice pretty flowers on it too. And then back here, as I said, I had gone to a swap at the library, and this was one of the other, it's a grass. I forgot what the grass was called, but I thought it would be nice and ornamental in this pot. Now the plan for this stand is to place it in the pot here after I add soil to this pot, and I believe that'll look nice and pretty. As for transitioning or hardening off my seedlings, this is one of them that I left for the first time outside yesterday. I'll add a picture here of all the other plants as they look on the patio as I'm in the final days of hardening those off. I have a few things that I want to get done today on the patio. One of them being is to transplant the tomatoes that were started into styrofoam cups. And I'll try to set you up here to see either with a time lapse or with some pictures to see how I go about doing that. I first punctured holes at the bottom of the styrofoam cups because drainage is required whenever you have any plants, else they will suffocate and rot if you water them too much, and then the water has nowhere to go but sit at the bottom. So I will be doing the tomato transplanting as well as I also soaked seeds of loofah and bitter melon. And before I even soaked them, I took a nail cutter and I chipped away at one edge of the seed. I can't tell you which end, but I had so many seeds that I could make the mistake of ruining some of them, but still getting some sprouts to come up. So I'll be sowing some of those seeds. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you next time.